Alright, here is a quick review of the Iron Factory War Giant Set A. This is the Attackers, and this is Bazooka, Hound, and Armour Boy, as they're called, or Swindle and Brawl, as we more commonly know them. Now, before we get to the vehicles themselves, they come packaged with the combiner mode feet, and you can see right now they form a trailer. There's a trailer, but there's wheels that flip out from the side. There's a couple little ramps that flip down here on the back that I'm assuming with these tabs here pegs into the back of Onslaught, and you can drive somebody up and he can carry somebody on the back of his vehicle mode. It's also possible that maybe with the chest plate and everything else, this forms some sort of launch gantry for blast off. And somebody said maybe it's a little like weapon emplacement type of thing. I don't know. The instructions don't show you what this is for, but it does look like with the wheels and the tab that at the very least it's going to peg onto the rear of Onslaught. But yeah, so now the toes do rotate, but that seems to be more for combine mode. You just unpeg them. That's how they come together. Then flip the wheels up to form the feet. And when you get to the foot mode, like I said, there's some tilt there, although just the way it tilts. Because there's also tilt built in up here, so maybe this is part of a transformation to something else. I'm not sure. But yeah. Well, we'll show off the feet more a little bit when we get to that point. But they do definitely plug together and form a sort of wheeled trailer of some point, some kind. So here's Armour Boy and Bazooka Hound in their vehicle modes. Their weapons do store on them. Now the instructions show, he's got little swivel pegs here on the front part of his gun. The instructions show flipping these out to the side and pegging them in here to the arm piece, and they go in about that far, and they stick out, you can see quite a bit from the side of the tank. You can put those in there. I have found that neither peg really sits. You can put them up in here, but it doesn't really fit securely. But I have found that if you fold this down and then plug it into the rear here with the back handle, it actually sits right up against the body of the tank. So that's where I store them. Like I said, the instructions do have them on either side up here in vehicle mode. And of course, Armour Hound has his little pistol and his shoulder cannon. And all of these, it's got a little hinge here and a little piece that flips up here. So I'm pretty sure this piece flips up in a couple of guns, maybe even these guns. I've seen pics of the combined gun. Yeah, it looks like they have tabs here. And I'm pretty sure these go on like this in the combined mode, but all of this stuff connects in some other way. Like, I don't know where this goes right now, maybe under here. But all the guns from the individual pieces combine to form the big rifle for Bruticus. So, we'll go ahead and take these individual weapons. We're just going to set them to the side for now. And here are the base vehicle modes. This piece also comes off, but it stays on in limb mode. It does come off for robot mode, so I don't know if this goes somewhere else. If there's an intentional place to store this, maybe in that combined whatever the feet do. I don't know. The instructions, again, only focus on these two. They do have a shot of all of the War Giant at the end of it, just to show how that all goes together. But outside of that, like, it doesn't. This piece stays on in vehicle mode and leg mode and goes somewhere in robot mode. I don't know where. But yeah, so the limb modes on these guys are quite simple to get to because they have the connectors up here. This is going to connect to Onslaught and flip up. This guy's got two peg holes on the bottom. He has two small pegs, and he's got his connector up here. So for him, you lift this up. You have to flip this up to make the leg. And obviously it'll connect right there. His leg piece, I'd flip this up. When you flip this up, you can see it's closed off, and it's very difficult to get back down. So I'm just going to leave that flipped. But it's just a little slide-in peg connector to connect the legs when we get to that point. Then you take them. They're very simple to get to limb mode. You lift this up. This one has the two peg holes in it, or the two pegs on it. So pull this back a little bit. Plug this onto him, onto the bottom. Make sure he pegs on securely, because this peg also is going to peg in to his crotch part here. And that locks that together. And now, once he's combined like that, the turret You can leave it like this, but it's on kind of an L-shaped piece. So you push it kind of around to the side and up and rotate it around like that. It raises it up a little bit, and then rotate it like this and flip it up like that. So that he does transform a little bit for limb mode, and then he'll connect right there. He does have an ankle tilt there in this mode. Again, the toe can lift up and forward for posability. And there is a swivel here. Maybe that swivel's more for when he's up on a toe. I'm not sure. But either way, some decent articulation here in the feet. So there's Brawl. And Swindle's more or less the same thing. He's got the peg hole in his crotch for the connector here. And he actually pegs into the foot like this. And peg that right in there. And it's more of the same. He connects right here. He's got the ankle tilt, toe articulation, swivel, and all that good stuff. So there they are as boots. Not super impressive yet because that's all there is, but way easier to go to. I was going to go to robot mode and then come back to boot mode when it's that simple to turn them in from vehicle mode to boots. So just pop the feet off. And then we can continue on our mystical journey to robots. Just those off to the side. Swindle's a little easier. Go ahead and flip this piece back down. Like that. And on him, we want to come up here, untab the side windows here, and go ahead and flip those down. Take off this black frame support piece for the weapons. And just set that off to the side. Like I said, he doesn't use these pegs at all, so I feel like there, or any of this stuff on the side, or these pegs on the back, so I assume there's got to be somewhere else this gets used in the combined mode. Or maybe like outside of the combined mode, I don't know. Flip these top panels up. Fold the windshield down. Flip the legs around at the knee. And then bring these pieces down and swivel them in like that. And then take the toes, or split the legs, and then rotate the toes around flat, like that, and like that. And you're done with his legs. Once you've done this, take the whole front end of the Jeep, untab it from the top of the torso, fold it back, down like this, pull the arms out to the side here, and lift the shoulders up. Untab the hand here, and flip it around. Again, untap the hand, flip it around, open up, pull this little black piece in his chest out, flip his head around, tab it up, and there is Bazooka Hound in robot mode. He's got a little ball jointed head, a little limited due to the transformation into the purple on either side, but ball joint at the shoulder, a swivel inside the shoulder, or a hinge inside the shoulder, a hinge up here, so you can get a little bit more that these pieces tend to bump into each other, but it's decently articulated there. Ball joint at the elbow, wrist swivels. He does have a waist swivel, ball joint hips, thigh swivel, hinge knees to a nice degree. He's got that toe hinge as well as ankle tilt and front to back on the ankles. So really posable for a small dude. I mean, he's not very big at all. And then he has his, like we said, has his little pistol. And then his cannon, this little handle flips out of the front. And like I said, this door kind of gets in the way a little bit. But you can put that in his hand, and because it's got that angly hinge, you can hold his cannon there at various angles. And moving on to Armour Boy, he's got a little bit of trick to the legs. But we'll go ahead and we'll turn this back around to where it was. And again, it pops off, but here's that little L-shaped piece I was telling you about. It just kind of rotates around like this. I can't tell if it's... This piece is on a hinge, this piece is solid, so... It's just a little L-shaped piece that raises it up a little bit. like I said, there it is up. Here it is down. So we'll start off with him. We're going to unpeg the treads here. Like that. Flip his feet down. Like this. And you may need, sometimes you can get this with just a fingernail. You may need a spudger to get the, oh, there we go. Got it started with a fingernail. Because there is a little tab, a little slot in there. Flip out his heels. Go ahead and unpeg the arms here. Get them, open up these panels up here on the top and get them out of the way. Unpeg them all the way from here. And they can come out here like this. Even though they stay up for robot mode, you can angle them out to get some clearance here at the torso. So the legs, the way they collapse into themselves, they kind of go down. There's a middle piece. It's hard to explain, but in order to get them to come out, you're gonna have to push out the top, and it helps to rotate them down like this, so you can get enough leverage at the top to pop this piece out. Because you can't. There's a trick to it. You have to push up here to pop this middle hinge out, and it's hard to explain. You see how now this black piece is now coming up at an angle. You need to get that before you can rotate the whole assembly up and out, just because of the way it collapses down in. You can see here the black edge of this piece is even with the green, and basically you just need to push on the top. And the instructions show this. You got to push out the top until it angles out like that a little bit, and once you've got it angled out like that, you can easily pull the hinge up. But if you just try to yank and yank and yank, you're going to end up stressing either the hip peg or any of this. Make sure you do that properly. It takes a little bit of figuring out at first, but as long as you like kind of right on this hip piece when it's collapsed, push it towards the front part of the leg so that this angled piece kind of just so it pops out a little bit. It's, as long as it's not straight and it's coming out more on the lower half than the upper half, you can flip it out. Rotate his waist around. Now his head also turns around here, and you can't really do it with this piece flipped down. You can leave it facing forward, which I recommend because it really is kind of a pain in the butt to turn. And you may again need a spudger for this. But once you get about halfway, you can kind of start getting some of the detail in the front of his face and getting it finished rotated that way. But it's easier to just leave it facing forward. I did it because the instructions show it, and it does hide his head a little bit better in vehicle mode. But man, it's such a pain in the butt to get in there and get access to the head, excuse me, in a way that you can rotate it. Because see, the way it's sitting right now, it's not, this piece is not going to fold down over it. There we go. And then once that's done, you can kind of flip it up through here, and this piece is going to peg on to the torso. Flip his head all the way up. Make sure his arms are up, all the way up. Flip his head up. And then just bring his forearms down and forward and fold this whole assembly so the treads go out to the side of his arm. Like that. So this panel from tank mode opened up, and now you want to rotate the whole upper assembly up here right above the shoulder back. So his treads sit out to the side, and there is Armour Boy in robot mode. He's got a ball joint at the neck, although, again, due to the way it sits kind of down and recessed into the chest plate, he can look around, but it's a little hard to manipulate. Same ball joint at the shoulder, although he doesn't have the swivel inside the body that BAZOOKA Hound does. Bicep swivel, hinge elbows. Again, they don't come all the way forward. I guess if you turn this, maybe turn this all the way around, then his arms are facing the wrong way. So, yeah, use that. It does have the wrist swivel, which is nice. waist swivel. It's getting stuck on something. I'm not sure what, but it should rotate all the way around. Yeah, see? I don't know why. For some reason, if I go past this way with it, it doesn't want to turn all the way back around. But you can see it clearly goes all the way around. I don't know why it's being such a patoot. It's just something catching back there. Ball joint hips, thigh swivel. Yeah, come here. It's coming off the side thigh swivel here, but we'll fix that. And then hinge knees, ball joint at the foot, as well as the hinge, the transformation hinge. That should be facing that way. And because you get a little bit of forward and back, side to side on the toe, and because they can collapse, you can kind of get the heel to support him in some different poses. And he's just got the two identical little submachine guns here. That pretty sure that's the wrong way. There we go. Like that. And what's neat is, look at that. Same length in leg mode, two very differently sized robots, which is really cool. Although a little less impressive when you realize that, like, part of Swindle's or our Bazooka Hound's height in limb mode is because he does have all of this front half of the car hanging off his back. When you add that extra inch, they're about the same height. But neat engineering to make that happen. Just as a quick size comparison, here they are with Titan's Return Sea Spray, just to give you an idea of how they scale with an actual retail Legends class figure. Swindle's a little shorter, Brawl's a little taller. And here they are with his brigade. Here is Iron Factory's Tyrant's Wings Red, aka Starscream, with a couple of his Combaticons. Iron Factory is putting out, honestly, some of the best small-scale stuff. I mean, even not even just small-scale. They're putting out some great little figures at a small scale with a lot of nice detailing and personality. I'm really looking forward to completing this set. But there is Iron Factory War Giant Attackers. This is Set A. Blast Off and Vortex are coming in Set 2, and then Onslaught by himself in Set C. But definitely worth picking up. Very cool. I saw the whole combined mode in the display case at TFCon this past weekend, and it was really neat. So I'm looking forward to completing this set.